The next graph is a circular flow model, and if you've been paying attention to the micro videos, you know that circular flow at the most basic level is just dealing with households and businesses. But you need to understand some of the different terms that apply to this in case the question asks you for some variation on it. You probably won't have to draw it, but if you can picture it in your mind, it'll be a lot easier to do some of the multiple choice questions you may see. So we're going to start with firms and households. These are the two economic sectors, or the two players that we have interacting through the markets. Now the two markets are going to be the factor market where factors of production are bought and sold, and the product market, where final goods and services are bought and sold. So for factors of production, remember that these are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And we talked about these in Unit 7, or rather Unit 6 in Micro, in terms of resource markets and some of the variations you're likely to see there. All right, so the first thing that we want is to look at the direction that the resources and the products are moving. So, first step is show, first of all, what households are contributing to the factor market, which would be all of these factors of production. So we'll go ahead and just add an arrow right here, okay? Because those are the things that they're putting in the factor market. And those would be the things that the firms are buying in the factor market. And to shorten this a little bit, over here, we'll just call them resources because we just named them all over there on that side. Okay, so the factor market is where resources or factors of production are bought and sold. Households put them into the factor market and the firms buy them there. Now, the firms take these resources and convert them into products that people buy. So, what are they putting into the product market? Goods and services. Which would be what the households take out of the product market. Now, there are two ways you can set this up if you have to draw it. I doubt that you will, but you might want to sketch it on the paper if you're dealing with a complicated multiple choice question. You can either do one whole set of arrows going around, or you can look at it in terms of the transactions between the markets. Whichever makes more sense to you is fine. Just make sure that you understand what the terms are for each of these directions. So that's half the picture. What we need to add now is money, because we're not dealing strictly with a barter economy here. We have to put in some medium of exchange to show how these things are being acquired. So the households put the factors of production into the factor market. In return, they're getting paid. This would be income in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. Okay. That's the income that accrues to the household as payment for each of the resources: rent for land, wages for labor, interest for capital, and profit for entrepreneurship. Okay? So make sure that you can remember the 4 resources and their 4 payments that households receive for each one. So they contribute resources, they make money. Each set of arrows has to represent an exchange. Firms buy resources and pay for them. We're going to keep money in the nice clockwise green arrows because it'll be easy for you to see. So what do we call it when the firms pay for stuff? They are business or capital expenditures. for spending. That's all it means. You may see it referred to different ways, but when it's the business buying something or the consumer's buying something, it's not income anymore. It's an expenditure. So you want to make sure you can keep that straight. All right, so the firms buy resources. They make goods and services out of them. Let's see. Let's go back over here for a minute. It's easier to go from this side now on bottom. All right, households contribute resources, they get paid. They take the money and they spend it in the product market. It's income here, it's spending here. So these would be consumption, expenditures, or consumer spending, same thing. They spend money, it goes to the business. What do we call it when it's earned by the business? It's revenue. Remember that each pair of arrows represents an exchange. They buy resources. They sell goods, they make money. Household sells resources, makes income, buys stuff, pays for it. Now, how fast money is moving through these two markets ties into the idea of the velocity of money. And if money is not moving, remember velocity refers to how often the average dollar is spent in a given year. If money is not moving, for example, if people are unemployed, they're not making income, which means they're not spending it here, which means the business is not making money, and they are not buying more resources, the economy begins to slow down. So in a very hot economy, with very high inflation, what you expect is that money is moving too fast. In an economy that is very sluggish or is in a slowdown or a recession, it's because money is not moving. Now, this circular flow, as we've got it right here, represents what's called a private closed economy.